Hello everyone, today we are going to continue uh, explaining Serilog, this library for structured logging that we start talking in the last video. In the last video, we create few methods. We create a simple application with few methods, and one of those methods is just include a switch where you can see all the scenarios that we are going to configure in this series of videos, right? So from the last video, I did refactor a little bit all the code. So I'm going to show you the major changes for that. So we have, I call it a build a standard configuration method that is basically the same than this one. Just here, for you can know, you can add a new JSON file from the web settings with a different environment or when you are. So I like this one most uh, for my applications, but I also include this build configuration that also take the app setting JSON and build a configuration route for you can use both the scenario and you can have those examples there. So I also added method that was, I call it create logger, that basically read from the root configuration, and I did include the host services for we can include any services. In this example, we are going to talk about how to do that, right? For use Serilog, uh, you need to include the Serilog extension hosting Nugget package, Serilog extension hosting for you can include there. So until now, we have Microsoft extension configuration, Microsoft extension hosting, Serilog, the three enrichers, Nougat package that we used in the last video, Serilog extension hosting I added for the start of this video, Serilog setting configuration, the two syncs that we also used in the last video. So for today, we are going to talk about the close and flush method on the logger, how to configure with app setting. We are going to talk about minimum level, filters, and subloggers. We are going to see a cool example with subloggers, so stay tuned. Okay, cool. Oh, by the way, I'm going to give you other two reasons because you need to consider this library for logging in your application. So this is the tag that we have in Stack Overflow. And as you can see, there are a lot of questions there with a lot of views and a lot of answers. So yeah, you consider use this one because I think you have a great documentation there. Also see the Nuggets package, all the amount of downloads that those package from Serilog has. So yeah, let's start. So in the last video, I forgot to talk to you about the close and flush. So please be aware to include this close and flush method after you call your login, because there are few providers that has hard termination in the event logs. So if you don't call this flush, this close, if you don't call in your code that this method close and flush, you can lose a lot of a few. You can lose few logs that you already have in the context that were now already logged into the providers. So yeah, let's go to start coding. And we're going to, as I told you in the last video, we are going to start using the app settings configuration, so we can see a few examples. So we're going to include a new setting here, or we can include it here and we can use it in the main, right? Okay, case log configuration types with settings. Okay, so we have settings here because we're going to call settings. So right now, in the last video, we configure the file provider, we configure the console, but we did all this configuration from the code, right? So right now we are going to use the app setting. And for that, we're going to split the window here so you can see how to configure. For that, we need to, let's start creating a new logger here. We need to create a builder equal new logger things. Sorry, we need to use the build configuration to yeah, we're going to use this one. You can see. Okay. We have the builder there. Oh, we have the builder there. Now we need to assign log settings equal to new logger configuration. We are going to read from the configuration builder. Okay. And we are going to create a log. Okay. Cool. So yeah. So as you can see here, I'm not writing the log, so I'm not specifying the provider yet. So, but we still can do this. Setting information. Serilog. Hello, Serilog. From settings. Configuration. Okay. Okay. So if we do Control F5, we are going to see that we don't have any information available in our console, right? And the reason is because we are reading from the builder, we are logging, but we are not specifying the provider. So, but today we are going to start specifying and configuring the provider from the web settings, right? And for that, we need to include Serilog here. We need to include using. We need to include using. In using, we need to specify an array. Here's when we specify this, provide the things, Serilog, things, console. Okay, so we have Serilog. We are also going to include, let's not include the minimum level for now. We're going to use just write to, I'm going to include all right, of name console. So with just these few lines, we should be able to see the logs now on the console. So we have the using and we have the writer. Okay. Oh, I'm not missing anything. Let's see if it's working. Oh, yeah, sure. It's not the name. Console. Okay. Woohoo. Okay, cool. So you can do a lot of things here as you can do it here, a lot of configurations. One of the important things that you need to be aware that I want to show you here, because we are answering this question, Serilog logger is duplicating each log line. And the reason for this issue is because this person was configuring the writers, but also on code, but also here in the web settings. So please make sure that when you are going to configure, use one of these. Honestly, I prefer to configure all these the using the writers and mostly of the parameters that you can here, and go for the code with more specific configuration that you need and you think you don't need to change in the future. And the reason for this is because when you deploy to production or to other environment and you want some changes in the log as quickly as possible, you need to be able to use the config, the app setting configurations parameters as easy as possible. So if you use the app setting, you can change the app setting, you can include other provider, you can change the way that the provider can see it, you can change the templates as we talked in the last video, and you don't need to compile again project. Okay, so but let's move for the other topic today, filters. We're going to talk about filters because I think filters and Serilog are cool features. So, well, as the name says, filtering your logs is just splitting the information that you're gonna see in different places if you want to, or filtering that information if you want to. Okay, so we are going to do the next example with filter, and the other one that I'm pretty sure is going to like you is the sublogger example. So, and for that, we're going to, by the way, you can include here, we can include here, let's do before we jump to the other one. Okay, we are going to include here other provider, Serilog, that we already have. So we have Serilog console and Serilog file. Okay, and we are going to include here setting more other settings, other, put it that way, others, providers. Okay, so we can do the same here. Okay, so here we're gonna do the same. I'm going to copy. I'm just going to put the same piece of code that we are using right now. Okay. So, and for that, we're going to hello zero from setting other configurations, others. So here, okay, we can use this one here, but we're not ready. We need to include other writer here. We need to include name, going to be file, and here we also need arc, and arcs going to use path, and we're going to use the path I have here. Let's delete this. Okay, let's run this. Okay, let's run it again, or see if we can find 2 entries on the file. Oh, open here. Oh, Serilog. Log. Cool. Let's do it again. Do it again one more time. Okay, cool. We have the path that we specify here, and we should have three entries in our file. So that way we know that we are logging to our providers. As you can see here, I didn't specify the writer from here. I'm just specifying the writer here and the providers that we are going to use here. So you can keep adding all the configuration, all the things that you want here, and you don't need to change the code. And this is a cool thing to consider, right? As I told you later. Okay, let's start with the filter right now. Filtering, and we also going to include bloggers. Bloggers. Okay, and for that we're going to include two more cases in the switch here. Blogger configuration. So filtering, configuration types, blog configuration types dot filtering. Wait, break here. We are also going to include. We are going to include subblogger. Okay. Okay. So we did test the abstract setting. Okay. Okay. So for now, we're going to create the same logger. I'm going to copy it from here because I don't want to spend time writing the same thing that you already know how to write. Okay. We have a logger. So one thing that I forgot to tell you. So you can use the logger. Please notice that here I'm using the starting logger. I'm assigning the starting logger from log. I'm here, I'm just using this variable. I'm using the normal function that this variable has. So you can use both ways. I like to use this one, the static logger, because you have few providers like SEC, for example, that you need to use the logger, or is like the perfect way to do it. But yep, we're going to create a logger here. And for that, we are going to, okay, we don't need to specify the yeah, we're going to use okay, let's use the same two things right now for this one. Yep, I'm going to include, okay, no, I do not want to. Okay, let's change here so we can run the process with filtering. Okay, missing something. Did I missing something? Excuse me. Okay. Okay. So let's see if it works. Let's see if this is working. filtering on the ranking. Okay, we have our logger. So now we're going to filter. Please note that when you filter, you can filter by inclusion and by exclusion, right? So as you can see here, you can filter by including, by excluding, or by including only. So you can also filter with. We're going to include few examples with included only. So for example, for this, we're going to use matching properties that for that we're going to need Serilog filters from with property. Okay, we're going to start with properties. So this is a generic int. Okay, we're going to use items. Here we're going to put that those items that I'm going to show lambda expression. I'm going to show is going to be greater than 100. Okay. So right now I'm going to put a white through here. I'm going to items equal 0. The items plus, and we're also going to pass. You can see in the console time span from seconds 5. Okay. So here we're going to move this login. We have hello Serilog from filtering configuration. Items. Okay. So items. Okay. So what I'm doing here right now, let me close this because we're not going to need any more. So I'm writing to this console, the console thing that we already specified. And we're going to filter all the loggers where the items are greater than 100. Okay. And how we test that? We're going to run the console. As you can see, we already have all those logs, but I don't have any log that the item is greater than 100. Cool, right? So let's do by include only. So right now we are going to include all of the items that are greater than 100, right? So let's do Control F5, and we're going to see the console running and running and running. Cool, right? Cool. So there are a few other features that you can include. So, but basically, so you can use an expression here, but for the more complex filtering process, I'm going to use the concept Serilog. We're going to copy this here again. Okay. We're going to copy this one here. Okay. Put it away here for now, just a second. I don't have any issues in the code. Okay, we are going to use sublogger. Okay. And now what we're going to do, we are going to include 2 sample services. So we're going to come here. We're going to add new folder, call it shape. We're going to include a class called Square. Okay, Square is going to have public and a Strata. I don't want to start the baseline. Okay, let's just write it. So interface e per service. We're going to include. Let's change the name. I'm going to rename it. Okay. We're going to inherit from e square service. So okay, we have the other Serilog shapes, and we're going to change the namespace to square here. Okay, this is just for this example. You don't need to do it on the normal structure if you are in the same folder, but just for the purpose of this video, I'm going to include that. Okay, so we're going to include triangle here, triangle, and we're doing the same. Control R G. You can delete all unused namespaces. Public. Going to E. Oh, we should call this services also, right? Services. Service. A little bit late today. Yep. Okay. So what I did here, we create two services, square and triangle services. And for that, we're going to use the constructor to inject our logger. But for now, we're going to use Serilog logger. I don't need to use Serilog logger. It's called log. We're going to control dot. Okay. I'm going to show you in one video how to change this name here by default. I'm going just to change the name because I like the private read only fields with the underscore first. And we're going to do the same in the square services. Okay. We are going to include elogger. Used in Serilog and lag, right? Why you didn't delete this? Logger. Hey logger. Hey logger. Crazy. Okay. So create and assign property field lag. I'm going to okay. What I did was I create two services with his interfaces for we can inject those services here. So we need to do services, add scope, services. include all hosts. Yeah. Let's go use scope. And we are going to, that's the reason, we're going to inject our where services. Service is going to be, the implementation is going to be where services. Okay, we're going to use include the namespace. Services at scope is square a triangle service triangle third. Okay, I forgot to include this triangle here. Okay, and we can now using the namespace. Did I include in correct namespace? Yep. Triangle service. I don't like with S. Doesn't matter. Okay, cool. So now we include these two services here. Okay. And the reason I did this is because I want to show you how to use the sublogger, but at the same time, how to filter the logs by the service that you want. And this is the cool thing that you might like to do if you want to have, for example, in separate, in different files, you want to have the business logic logger data, and in the data layer you wanted a different file, for example. So, and for do that, we need to change this it from configure it. We're going to pass host will host services. Okay. And services, we are going to yeah, we're going to save that host here because we're going to need it in the future. We're going to use the minimum level here. So, and after that, we're going to avoid this filtering here. So, okay, what we're going to do here is how we use the subloggers. So for the subloggers, just put the minimum level variables because I was testing and I didn't find a way to configure the minimum the sublogger without the minimum level. But I mean, we can try it. Okay. So we're going to write to file, okay? And we're going to, I already have here the location. I'm going to use the same here. Okay. But we can use this right to, and here's where the sublogger enters. You can say subloggers. And with the lambda expression, you can just say L. Okay. And here you can say, oh, going to filter by including only. Okay, we're going to include in a different file for this one, in the different file from this one, we're going to include our loggers that are coming from is Square service. Okay, and who is our Square service? How? So we're going to create is Square service matching. We're going to matching from source, and we are going to use Square services. Okay, we're going to include also for triangle services. Triangle services. I'm going to triangle. Okay, triangle services. So we save the host because we're going to need it later on. So we create a matching from sources that we are going to pass in this filter. Okay. So this filter also needs to specify the writer cons for the file, and the file we're going to place it right here. So you can use a normal variable for this one, but this is just an example, so please bear with me. Yeah, I'm going to include the auto writer. So do we writer missing the dots, 2, and here we're going to include the other logger. Okay, so the logger is the same thing. You just copy and paste and change is triangle. Okay, triangle log. Call it E for now. Well, okay, so I don't need this for now. Yep. So we are saving the host because we are going to need it soon, and we create a new file for general, and we created 2 subloggers that are going to split the data that we send to our writer, that in this case is going to be file, and we're going to save in this square and triangle log. Okay, for that we are matching from sources, square services, triangle services, and we are using this. Okay, so now we're going to, every time that the while runs, iterates, we're going to create a bar square service equal square service. Okay, we're going to do the same for triangle. Okay, so we're going to pass logger here. Cool. So we do need to log something here, information, where, and we also do need to log something here. A triangle. Okay. So notice what happened here. we're going to use this location. We're going to delete these two previous files that I was testing, and we're going to from. Did I include this log? Yeah. So I have a Serilog. So let's see. It's running. We are writing to the file. So it's not showing anything on the console, but it's running. Let's go stop it and let's see if we have the 3 files. Cool. So if we go and search into, so we have I'm square, I'm triangle, I'm a square, I'm triangle, I'm square, I'm triangle. Okay, let's see if we have. Oh, yeah. So interesting. I want to show you why this is not happening. And the reason I show you those files without any data is because when you are using this logger, you are initializing this logger. This logger is under the context that is instantiated here. So for we can use this, we need to say, hey, I want from for context, I'm going to be in a square context for service dot information. So notice that we are not injecting yet. We are injecting the services. But we are not instantiating the services with the dependency injector framework yet. So we are using the same logger that we create here in the program CS file, and we are injecting these services, this same logger to here. So, but we didn't see anything because the logger that we pass in this constructor has the wrong context, so that we are filtered on, right? So let's do the same here and let's see if we notice a different result right now. So do we here for context, triangle service. Okay, so let's see what happened. I'm passing the same logger, but we are getting right now the logger from this context in this specific file. Okay, so and for that, we are going to, I think I don't need this anymore. Just put it there. We're going to jump here. We're going to close here. We're going to delete these three files. I'm going to say run. Okay. Let's see what happened. So we have square, but now we have I'm a square under the square log. Cool, great. And I should have the triangle. I'm a triangle. And here, what happened here? Okay, here I'm getting all the information from all the contexts. Cool. So a different way to do this, and is the recommended way that I should implement, is using the activator utility. Okay, because if you are using the host, you are getting the default builder, you are including, you are adding those services. You need a way to inject the instance to the reference in the inversion of control container, right? So for that, we need to use the activator utilities, And instead of doing this, we can change this. Okay, I'm going to another constructor logger. I'm going to include triangle services log log 2. Okay, now we're going to include Microsoft extension login, and we are going to include these two. Okay, let's do it that way. Create an assigned field log. Okay, include it like this. Oops. So here it's going to be okay, and we are going to log dot information. We're going to copy the same information we have here. I'm a triangle. I'm a triangle. Okay. Please don't forget to comment your code always. Okay. Information. Yes, log information. Okay, and we are going to do the same here. Or going to include elogger where services log 2. They're going to initiate and assign the field with log 2. This is not from Serilog. This one from Serilog. And this one is from Microsoft extension login. Okay. So we're going to use all of this line and just delete the for context. Yeah, here is log. Okay, so we include a logger with the type already specified. So how, instead of using this right now, we're going to use the activator utility. And for that, we're going to var ss activator utility create instance. Create instance, the type is going to be square services. So notice that I'm not passing any logger right now because we already include this line here, right? But here what we're going to do is say, hey, host, use the services that you already injected there. So I'm going to say the same for the triangle. Okay, and let's see what happened now. So we're going to delete, oh, we already did it. We're going to run the process. Seems like we are having problem with the same constructor. Let's see if this one is the issue. Let's comment this. Yeah, let's comment this constructor here. It's running right now. Okay, now, yeah, now we should have the same output on those files. We have square. Okay, I'm a square. Oh, great. I'm a triangle. Okay, so please notice the two different ways that you can initiate with dependency injection. I'm planning to do another video related with that, but I think it's everything for today, guys and girls. So hope you enjoyed the video. I'm going to include few other videos with other providers. And yeah, tell me if you like another video, give it a thumb up or thumb down. Please send me some comment on the video, and if you want me to do other type of video also. So see you in the next video. Bye bye, guys.